Hey everyone, and welcome back to the show. Today, I'm very excited to announce our guest for the day, Fletcher Clardy. Fletcher, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you, thank you. Thanks, Suja, for having me.
Yes, it's totally my pleasure. So everyone, Fletcher Clardy the third has a master's of science in entrepreneurial and real estate and finds the sources and finds and sources deal flow in his company. So you're the deal desk captain at your company, Fletcher. Why don't you start by taking us back in time to sort of where you were before you got into real estate and then what drew you into the space?
Oh yeah, thank you so much for that question, Suja. We'll just dive right into this. I've always had a prowess for educating the youth and adults society in financial literacy. So I attended UMKC, University of Missouri, Kansas City, with hopes of getting my bachelor's in administration, emphasis in finances. And I did complete that. And upon that journey, I acquired a job with Northwestern Mutual. And during that time, working with them about 11 months, I decided that that was not the route that I wanted to take. After working with State Street, banks, different bank companies, financial industries, it just wasn't right for me. And I wanted to find something else where I could still apply that financial background and that education to something else. And I came across real estate, took an internship with Clardy Equity Group now 3 years ago. And during that internship, I really started liking real estate and what it was all about, and really just the daily opportunities to learn. You know, like you learn something new every day in real estate,
For
and I
sure.
really enjoyed that. There's a new challenge, a new task to overcome, and it's just you're always growing and developing. So I really like that. Stuck with it. Continued my education at UMKC and got my master's degree in real estate. It's a MSERE, a Master's of Science in Entrepreneurial Real Estate. I said they really jacked up on the name, but effectively it's a Master's in Real Estate. um, and with that, of course, got promoted within the company, and that's the title that I have now is the deal desk captain, where that encompasses a few different hats. You know, I source and underwrite deal flow. It is my job to identify the opportunities in the market, present them to my managing director if it makes sense, and then move forward with the LOIs and closing hopefully on the opportunity. But one of like I said, many hats. Also managing the website, Google Analytics, the CRM, our database, a few different things. I would say admin roles as well, but primarily sourcing deal flow, and that's what I continue to do today.
Okay, awesome. Well, thanks so much for that background. You touched on something early on, which I want to circle back to, which is your passion for teaching about financial literacy. And where did you develop that passion?
I would say that just came from the community and my upbringing. Just growing up in the neighborhood that I came up in, it was not something that was taught at an early age. You know, financial literacy. What is a credit score? How does the banking system work? What is the banking system? What's savings? What's checking? What's retirement? Life insurance? All of these different aspects of adulting that are key and crucial to your success as an adult. I didn't feel like I got that or received that education at an early age, and I wanted to bring that back to the community, which I also have an LLC on the side, Diamonds in the Rough, a financial literacy organization where I do mentor to the youth when I'm not, doing real estate. But that's where that came from, just my upbringing, the community, and that's why I initially went to school, and that was the hopes of just expounding upon that knowledge of financial services.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's such an important role that you're playing. And I mean, it's really cool to hear about your mentorship LLC that you're working with. And I'm just curious, where was it that you said you learned at an early age about these concepts, even though other people around you weren't learning about it? Is that right?
No, actually, I did not learn it at an early age. I learned it about when I got to college, and I felt that that was too late. I think that
Got
what
it.
I try to do now is start education at, you know, 10 plus years of age, 10 to 15,
Hmm.
and first understanding what a bank account is at 18, or when you first get to college, and they educate you on what a bank account and checking and savings. I think that's far too late. So
Yeah, for sure.
I wanted to change that, and yeah, so I did not receive it early. Like I said, all of that knowledge came freshman year of college. I'm like, credit score, oh, this is credit, or banking, okay, so yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, awesome. So, I mean, you started out working in financial advising and then eventually made your way to real estate. And can you tell me a little bit about, why you made that transition and, how you currently, just a little bit about why you transitioned to real estate?
Yeah, for sure. So, as mentioned earlier, it's just really the opportunity to continue developing in something that you have passion and interest in. So, through my internship, I identified that I really was passionate about this, and I enjoyed coming to work and doing this for a career and a profession. That was first for me. It was like, oh, I enjoyed this. I
Yeah.
enjoy being on the phone, building relationships, connecting with others. I enjoy identifying an opportunity and underwriting it and figuring out the value and what to purchase, what to offer. I enjoy all of those things. So once I identified that, um, the transition was easy. Like, okay, this is something that I want to do, and then it just came. All right, well, what do you want to do in real estate? Okay, so I like to communicate. I love building relationships. And I think that anyone who's in real estate knows that this is a relationship business. So I wanted to be a connector in the business. So, an intermediary, a lot of people, there's brokers that feel the same way. You say, I can identify with them. But I just wanted to be information is key. So I wanted to be connected to the market and be able to um, have relationships with professional sponsors, investors, owners, banks, all these different people, and be able to, when that timing meets that opportunity, be able to act on that possibility.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I think that it's so important to like what you do, and real estate is for a special breed of people for sure because it's
Yeah.
exciting. It's it's not necessarily always, there's things that come up and you have to be ready to tackle them head on every single day. So, um, cool. So, now you work as the deal desk manager, and I know before you were we were before the call, we were talking about one of the projects that you're working on right now, which is office to multifamily conversion. And with COVID in the wakes and work from home becoming more of a regular thing, a lot of people are wondering, well, what are we going to do with all of our office? And there's been a lot of different, I've heard a lot of different perspectives on it. And this is the first time I'm talking to someone who's actually actively investing in office to multifamily conversions. So please, like, tell us all about it. Why does it work? How does it work? And, where are you in the process? Because it's still fairly new.
Okay, awesome. Yes. So as Suja mentioned, we definitely are in the process of converting office to multifamily. And where that began is first, what she already alluded to is the opportunity of available inventory of office space. So that's first and foremost, as any investor, experienced real estate professional will understand that there's just been a high there's a lot of office space available in multiple markets because of COVID, people not working in the office anymore, companies having to decide whether they're going to stay at home, do hybrid, blah, blah, blah.
And Fletcher, just real quick on that topic. So when you say there's a lot of office available in various markets, would you say there's like, it's more in, class A urban in like dense urban areas, downtown areas, or where is that office space available?
I would say downtown, tertiary, some primary, markets, but secondary, tertiary markets for sure. But in the downtown communities, everywhere, in all markets, just because there's been so much uncertainty with COVID, and also there's been success with work from home. So you can't negate that companies have still been productive with their employees working from home. So they reevaluated this need of office space, or is it truly a need? So yeah, I would say in all markets, downtown, the CBD, central business district. We focus in the Midwest and Southeast. So the markets that I am very familiar with and know like the back of my hand are here local, Kansas City, Missouri, Georgia, Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, St. Louis, anything within a 5-hour radius to us. But yeah, Midwest and Southeast, yes, there's been tons of office space in the central business districts, and yeah, and primary, secondary, and tertiary markets.
Okay, awesome. So there's a lot of office space available, and now yeah, tell us more. How did you identify where you wanted to do a conversion?
A lot of opportunities. There's a lot of ways to skin the cat in real estate. So we work with investors, family offices, owners and operators, sponsors like ourselves. But one of the other, I mean, other sources that we have are bank relationships. If you know, everyone knows, that non-performing notes, REO, any distressed assets that banks hold on that balance sheet, they do not want them. They want to remove them. They're not in real estate; they're in banking. They want to put the money out and get money back in. They don't want an asset. So we work with them and remove those assets. And from those relationships, an office opportunity presented itself. Being able to, I can't say too much, but being able to acquire at, under $15 a square foot, let's say that.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, being able to acquire at that basis, there's a lot of room for error. Let's say that.
Yeah.
Um, Going into that, one of the primary things that we had to have was a co-GP because we're not developers. We are vertically integrated, so we own and operate, but we're not developers. We don't do ground up development, and we don't do conversions. But we do have relationships, and we have a very qualified co-GP who's done over 3,000 of these conversion projects, and we just partnered up with him, and we're leveraging, of course, his experience and his knowledge with dealing with those things. But also, you get some assistance from the city, of course, with that inventory. So I believe we have some light. Do we have light tech on this? I'm not sure with the area, but I think we have light tech. So of course that helps as well. I will say this: we have had to revisit the budget a few times because of the inflated construction prices.
Totally. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that has been a headache. But we started construction, let's say February of this year, and we plan to. There's 2 office buildings, 100,000 square foot, that we're converting, and probably about 50. I think 54 is going to be 108 units. There's roughly 54 units in each building. And we plan to start pre-leasing the first building December, January. I'll say January, February of 2022. But yes, the construction cost has probably been the biggest challenge that we've had.
For sure.
We did also face early on, being very transparent, we did face challenges with the banks of actually lending in this space. So there's a lot of uncertainty, of course, with this conversion. So getting, banks, even with a sophisticated sponsor, 2 sophisticated sponsors and experience, both over a decade, combined 30 years of real estate experience, there was still, uncertainties with the banks, and you definitely need that lending piece to complete the capital stack. Uh,
Yeah.
you
So
know,
yeah, totally. I mean, you guys are on the front lines of making this kind of deal happen, and it's hard to pave the road when it's an unknown territory, right? And so,
yes,
I mean,
exactly, exactly.
yeah. So also just a quick question. So is this going to be an affordable project, and is it in a central business district? Because you mentioned LIHTC, low income housing tax credits.
Yeah, this one, no, this one's not. That's why I was
Oh,
trying to
okay.
think through it, and I look reviewing the notes here in front of me. This one's not. That's something else we're working on. I apologize. No, this is market. These will be presented at market.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure it's a bit of a challenge. I mean, I think anyone in development is dealing with a change in construction costs. I'm glad you got the property at such a discount. Can
Yeah.
you talk about like sort of I'm just curious about physically what kinds of, I'm not sure how familiar you are with the physical changes that need to be made to an office building. I mean, obviously there needs to be plumbing and kitchens and bathrooms installed. Like, can you tell us about that?
I only know a little bit on the surface, just by visiting the property. Like I said, we're not developers by any means. But yes, we started with the full gut, of course,
Okay.
removing all the walls and original paneling, electrical, everything. So getting all that out first, and then reinstalling based on the blueprint, getting that those new. I think we're doing. I think we're at walls right now. Um, yep, just getting some walls up and get things sectioned off. Last time I went out there, that's what stage we're on. Like I said, projects anticipated. I would say to be done first building by December, and then moving to building two.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. And have you found that there's investor appetite for it? And clearly there is, but how is the investor appetite for this type of deal? Like, what are people saying? Are they excited to be, taking a risk like this? Are they excited because it's, obviously there's excess inventory that's going to be need to repurpose at some point?
I would say that investors have shown such an interest because uh, the experience, but also it's just a tough market. So identifying the normal opportunities, whatever normal is, the usual opportunities that have been presented, like 300 plus units, class B, class A, those assets that I would say family offices and high net worth individuals with a $10 million equity ticket, those properties and those assets have been hard to identify just because owners who own that, they're very proud and it's already a legacy and generational asset. So they don't want to let it go and get rid of it or trade it at this time. So investors have been showing more interest in non-familiar territories, conversion projects, adaptive reuse, alternative investments, and phase two is already. We have to slow the investors down. And we have a few investors that are ready for phase two. It's like, hey, we have to get through phase one first.
Yeah,
Let
totally.
us complete it. But no, two or three investors are ready to, already subscribe for phase two, and so yeah, there's a lot of excitement.
Yeah, totally. Cool. So, well, what else what are sort of trends are you seeing? I mean, I know you work with family offices and a lot of high net individuals. Like, what can you share about like what you see as like what's coming next, given where we are in the market?
So the biggest trend for me, there's a few things that should be coming up in this fall. So one that we're excited about with the bank relationships is the fact that this whole moratorium issue is kind of being resolved. And I do air quotes because it's to be determined, right? We'll see. But they have finally, they have released this, the eviction moratorium July 31st. So in the fall, that'll be interesting in the next coming months. That's one of the things that we're excited about seeing.
And can you
That
tell us more about that? Like, are your properties being negatively affected? Are rent collections way down? What's going on with that?
Ours haven't, honestly. We had a stellar team. Our regional property manager, Marissa, she's amazing, and she has done an awesome job during the COVID period since March of 2020 with just staying on top of things. And we actually stayed 95+% occupancy and had 98% collections. So yeah, so we didn't face any of those challenges on the commercial side. I think it was more in the residential space or smaller communities that I've seen face those issues and yeah, have to deal with squatters or people who not willing to abide by their lease, their contract, their contractual agreement. So fortunately, we did not have to go through that. That was a blessing, and just really excited to see what is to come for the banks that are going to be repossessing some of these assets. Because unfortunately, what has happened, snowball effect, of course. Yes, the landlords and owners have had the issues with tenants that have maybe they have been affected by COVID and they lost their job and they really are struggling. And they don't have the rent or means to pay their rent. But you still like a sign this agreement. If you can't, then that's why that agreement's in place. And that protection being in place for the tenants completely disregards the protections for the landlord. So the landlord's only protection is that contract and that asset. So with them not being able to, uphold or stand firm on, hey, if you're not paying rent, then we have to repossess this asset or take back possession. They have suffered as well on the ownership side with not being able to pay their loan payments.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a lot of decisions being made with banks and the relationships with these owners, if they can pay, if they can't, depending on their history and like I said, the relationship with the bank.
I see. So you're basically excited to potentially be able to come in and swoop up some of these assets.
Yes, because okay, so back to the market, yes, swoop up these assets at a low basis at a discounted rate. So in this market, 2021, it's a seller's market. We all know that. And with that, with the market being a seller's market, owners don't have the incentive to to sell off market or under the table. Why not? Let everyone claw at it, put it on the market, let them have at it. It makes sense. I completely understand it. Even my managing director Seth, he's like, I should have just held it and sold for more. I'm like, well, yeah, you could have, but
yeah, hard to know.
Yeah, hard to know. We just sold a multifamily portfolio in December of 20 into January 21. And we sold at a sub 5 cap rate. So we did well. It was fine. Purchase price at 10 and sold for 17. So did great. Presented a 2x equity multiple, which is our minimum, actually 2.3 higher than what we promised to our investors. But yeah, just with the market being a seller's market, yes, very excited for the banks to repossess assets and offer it, at a discount because they don't want it on their books. And we have that capability of coming in and, like you said, swooping it up.
Yeah, awesome. Well, that's cool. Well, okay, so you're looking forward to the eviction moratorium being lifted. Anything else on the horizon that you're looking for or that you see coming?
I still have been seeing a lot of development. So also with just the market, it being a seller's market, there's been a lot of future development plans coming online and just more development because, like I said, you're not able to, purchase already existing. So
Totally.
yeah, owners are like, well, I got this project and partnering up. There's a lot of JV or co-GPs A lot of those relationships happening and blossoming from this. And I would say fall into the spring. I'm excited for that, probably Q4 to Q1 of next year. And really excited about that transitionary period because I think things are going to flatten out with the market. I mean, of course, cyclical market. Eventually, things are going to flatten out, and I see that happening with the moratorium being lifted on the 31st, July 31st, and moving into August now. I
Yeah.
see things changing in the fall.
Cool. Well, on that note, Fletcher, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your experience and a bit about, what you guys are working on and looking forward to. Really appreciate it. Before we hop off, please share with the listeners how they can get in touch with you and look at your company and anything else you want to share.
Yeah, for sure. So you guys can see behind me, the company name is Clardy, Clarity. I'll pop out of there for a second. Clardy Equity Group, CLARITYGROUP.com. That's our website. You will find me on there, Fletcher Clardy. You can find me on LinkedIn, Fletcher Clardy, FLETCHERCLARDY. And if you do want to call the company line, that number is 816-360-9602. Fletcher Clardy with Clarity Equity Group. Thank you so much for having me, Suja.
Thank you, Fletcher. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Thank you. Thanks, listeners.